I finally got a hold of one of my Canadian breast chickens. These guys are so hard to catch. We tried handling them a lot when they were little, but they're just very elusive and they take off. She doesn't like me holding her right now. She's gonna fuss. Canadian Breast is a heritage breed from France that was initially brought to the US, and now we've brought some to Canada, only as recently as 2011 or 2017 or something. They are a dual purpose bird, meant for meat and eggs. They're not laying as many eggs as I had hoped. We got a dozen day-old chicks back in April or May, and 9 of them turned out to be roosters. 7 have gone to the freezer. We had to select very carefully on which ones we were harvesting and which ones we were going to keep. So I have 2 beautiful roosters here now, and we saved the 3 hens. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had the chickens were all free ranging. All of them were running around, hanging out together, and just supervision. They were fine. I brought them back into the coop, and everybody was fine, carrying on as usual. No one appeared sick at all, and my husband came in and said, "We have a problem in the coop. I think one of the chickens is dead." And sure enough, one of the Canadian breast females was just laying there dead. No signs of trauma, no signs of struggle or anything. She was just dead. We didn't do a necropsy. We didn't investigate. We just paid her respects and put her in the ground. The chickens were a bit mellow for the rest of the day. They seemed to know something was gone, something was wrong. She was going to be my best breeder. She had the breed standard traits I was looking for. But she's gone. Now I've got this girl in my hands. I'm investigating her. She doesn't have the breed standards I would like. She should have. She's got the weight, and I don't know if it's her or her sister who's laying eggs consistently. I'll have to separate the flock to zero in on that a little bit. But if you can see her comb is straight and proud. It's straight up. A Canadian breast chicken's comb should be half erect and half floppy. They should also have dark eyes. Her eyes are orangish red, and they should have white earlobes, and she doesn't have white earlobes. Neither of these girls has white earlobes. But the other girl had just a tiny touch of white earlobes, and neither of my roosters has white earlobes either. I'll have to bring in another, in a couple of years, I'll bring in a couple of more chicks, or I'll bring in some other lines to see if I can get the white earlobes and the proper combs on my females. So I probably won't be hatching eggs from this girl. And when it comes time, I do have a separate coop to put my breeding pair in, because I could get a great barnyard mix. But if I want the Canadian breasts for their hardiness, like this girl, she's getting heavy. She's heavy in my arms. If I want to keep the breeding standards, then I'm going to have to work on just 2, like the breeding female I want and the best breeding male I want. And then for future generations, I can switch to the other rooster. I want you to look at what they're doing right now. I'm going to put this girl down. She's getting heavy. She's got to be 4.5 or 5 pounds. And she had poop on her feet, of course, so it's a good thing I have my barn coat on. Down here at the door, the door is open just a tiny crack. They want to free range so badly. They want out. They want to go out in the grass. I have another solution. Let's turn the camera around here and do the other solution. We've been putting hay on the ground because it's been so wet in here. The canopy, this canopy overhead is not sealed between the joints, and when it rains or has any snow buildup, it drips in here like crazy. Let's put something out for the chickens to forage. I have a mix of calcium and grit, black oil sunflower seeds, and mealworms, just to give them something to scritch for roosters are doing their job. They're calling the hens and saying, hey, there's food. Chick, 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 chick. And surprisingly, there are no more chickens at the door. They are all in here doing what chickens do best. So as I was saying, this overhead roofing doesn't have seals between the panels, and when we get any snow melt or any buildup of rain, that all trickles through the cracks and it makes it rain inside the run. When we wrapped our run with plastic, it was great. It was protecting them from the elements. It was keeping them dry and warm and protected from the wind. Except when the water got inside the run, now it was evaporating because it was warm in here and it was building up on the plastic. And we had a condensation problem, so it really would never dry thoroughly in here. My husband Dan has made it his mission to protect these chickens for the winter, and he's doing whatever he can come up with to come up with a solution. In this case, we really like to see the chickens from the house, and we can't see through the plastic. But he also wanted to create some airflow through here. I suggested opening the doors when they were out. We have a heat lamp that we can put in here, but we only put it in when they're not in here. They're out in the backyard. So that's just to dry things up. So what his solution was to allow the airflow. He opened up a piece in the plastic here that is slightly smaller than a 4x8. A 4x8 sheet of plywood will now just be screwed on to these boards and cover this up like a big panel. So Dan just set this up so it takes 6 screws to put that panel of plywood back on there, and it's done. We have some washers where the screws go in so the screws don't go all the way through and create a hole in the wood, and it just covers up the screening, and it comes beyond the edge of the plastic. That allows us the flexibility to open it up in January on a nice day. There's always a January thaw in Ontario. And that allows us to protect them on the days that it's really windy and blowy, or it allows us to open it up on the days that it's sunny and mild. And come the springtime, we'll be able to do it again. Now, if it is a problem, we do have more plastic. He can close it up, completely wrap it in plastic again if he needs to. It won't be easy to do with the plastic being cold and brittle in the winter, but it can be done, and teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and our chickens in the winter. I hope to keep giving you more footage as every month goes by so that we can see how they're coping with the cold and our methods of keeping them acclimated and reasonably healthy and safe. I'll see you next time.